Let me ask you something. Do you know what you're afraid of? Gun politics has been an issue in our government since 1934, and since then our goals to end gun violence have not been met. But why does this matter? For the same reason your children matter. And those children are a part of the reason I have made this project. During my time at High Tech, I have noticed a common reaction that has occurred every year I've attended High Tech High. You see, I'm very into guns. I always have been since middle school. But that interest has always been questioned and sometimes alienated, even by the school itself, to the point of questioning my parents. But I noticed that they did not question out of curiosity, but rather out of fear. Fear that a picture of a gun would harm them. Guns have dulled the minds of our children to have a fear response to anything related to a gun. And this personal experience has inspired me to make my senior project about this fear, and how important it is that we don't just fear what we don't understand. To do this, I conducted interviews with 10 of my schoolmates who volunteered to be a part of my project, and asked them a few questions around the lines of, what do you think of guns? Are you concerned or afraid of them? And do you think we should have assault rifles? That last question led into the next segment to teach them a little bit about guns, where I asked them to give me the definition of an assault rifle. Now, the point of this was to show that the issue of gun violence is much more complex than what we usually assume. This is best shown by how their answers compare to the actual definition.
But it's the capability for both. It can be semi
That's
or
what
auto.
there.
That's what I was trying to say.
It has to have more than one firing mode, which
Okay.
is select fire. You see this on
Yeah,
the 6 at the same time.
One of them be like automatic firing? Or
No, but it does have two firing modes.
How do you shoot them? Like, let's say full process. How do you shoot them?
Check if the magazine has ammunition in it.
Stop there.
Hi. Oh, was that the answer?
Yeah, magazine fed.
Oh.
And this was personally shown to me when I researched my statistics. Around 70 to 80% of people, according to the National Survey of Gun Policy, agree and advocate for more gun laws like licensing or extreme risk protection laws, otherwise known as red flag laws. But this study from RAND shows that both of those laws have limited or inconclusive data on helping with gun violence. In fact, that RAND study shows that most of our proposed or active gun laws only have limited data on being effective or not, with 3 outliers having supportive data. Those 3 being concealed carry laws, stand your ground laws, and child access prevention laws, with both concealed carry and stand your ground laws increasing gun violence, and child access prevention laws helping curb suicides, accidental deaths, and gun homicides. Now, this doesn't mean that the other laws are ineffective, but it does mean that there isn't enough evidence to say that they are or not. There are also a few other statistics that I think are important to share with you. In 2024, 44,447 people died to guns. 27,593 of those were to suicides, and 15,364 died to gun homicides. The rest of the numbers filled out with unintentional gun deaths, law enforcement-related deaths, and deaths where the cause cannot be determined. The National Crime Victimization Survey reported gun defenses have an average range of between 61,000 and 65,000 incidents per year. Mass shootings only accounted for a very small amount of gun deaths back in 2010, but each mass shooting caused more people to be shot than during any other type of gun incident. And the type of gun that is used most often in gun homicides is a handgun, according to the FBI's data in 2019. Now, when I first did my research, this painted a very different picture in my head compared to what I believed beforehand. This new belief was reinforced when I dug further into both other avenues that could be affecting gun violence and the history of our gun laws. I found that poverty had a much clearer connection to gun violence and also curbing gun violence than any of the laws that RAND discussed, with one deviation in social upward mobility decreasing the gun homicide rate by 25%. An increased institutional social capital was linked to a 17% decrease in the number of firearm homicide incidents. It also stated that an increase in socioeconomic status decreased gun suicides by 31% for men. Another study shows that more impoverished counties had a higher rate of gun homicides than its richer counties. These studies show that poverty has a much clearer connection to gun violence than the laws that RAND discussed and reviewed. Even the child access prevention laws, which showed a 9% reduction in gun homicides compared to the 17% that an increase in social capital accomplished. This makes me believe that we have been going at the issue all wrong, and we should divert our attention away from regulating and focus on fixing poverty to combat the issue. And this was further reinforced when I noticed something about the history of our gun laws in the states. The states have a suspicious history of preventing certain groups from owning guns, such as the natives in the 1600s, to the enslaved people in the 1700s, all the way to the 1968 law preventing the undocumented from owning guns, among other groups. The government also has a history of passing more gun laws after certain groups start arming themselves, such as here in California with its Mulford Act, which was made by Don Mulford, who wanted to, quote, get the Black Panthers by making their patrols illegal. This shows that race does have a part to play in our gun laws and shows that not all of our gun laws have the best intentions for being passed or proposed. All of this is to say that we need to take a bigger focus on how to protect our children from these threats. Guns have had federal regulations on them since 1934, and we've only added more regulations on them since then. But the problem still persists, so now I feel it's time to try different solutions in different areas, like poverty or mental health, as most gun deaths are suicides. And if we remove that blind fear that we have to fully see the issue for what it is, we could better figure out how to fix it. And I feel like that solution will create a much better world for our children than the ones we are creating for them now. Do you think we should be allowed to have assault rifles?
I have negative cancer. Sorry.